Hello, mi gente. How are you guys doing? How you guys doing today? I'm out of frame, but welcome to On the Wake Up Radio. Listen to onthewakeupradio.com. Sign up for otwtube.com. Today is Thirsty Thursdays. You know it's a good day. You know it's a good day. We're here with Audrey A. Thomas. Don't forget to check out her show, Thirsty Thursday. Please don't forget to. Well, today what's today's show was called?
Disbarred is not denied.
Disbarred is not denied. Well, we did a show, so people kind of know already. Those who don't know, fill them in, Audrey.
Well, the beauty of my life is that it has been love filled. I was raised with a lot of love and support, and I am the epitome of what it means to be raised by a village. You know how they say it takes a village to raise a child? I'm the product of the village. Anywho, I graduated law school from St. John's 20 something years ago. I was a prosecutor in Brooklyn for 4 years, and then I had the bright idea to go into private practice. And then in 2017, there was a lawsuit, and I fought the lawsuit successfully. Their motion for summary judgment was denied, and then the judge said, "Hey, if you, I need the charger. If you believe the attorney did all of these things that you alleged in your complaint, then why didn't you go to the lawyers fund?" So the person who sued me had the bright idea to go to the lawyers fund, and then they went to the lawyers fund, and I defended that successfully, and the lawyers fund said, well, if you can't come here because you haven't filed a grievance. In order for us to give you any money that you're claiming this lawyer stole your money, you have to file a grievance and you have to win. So then we had a grievance, and during the course of the grievance, the witness was asked, well, if you think the lawyer did this, why didn't you go to the police? So 2 weeks later, I got a phone call to surrender, and I did. I was fighting that, and while all of this is taking place, a client of mine is fighting successfully to get his house back from some people who he said stole it. And of course, while he's fighting them, what transpired is I find out and I get an order that the trustee from the bankruptcy federal court believes that the judge who handled the case facilitated the theft of my client's house and stole $250,000 from him. It's 010209 of 2015, Nassau County, Scone Enterprise versus Brian Coriette. So I fought them. And when I fought them, I reported them to the disciplinary committee. I reported them to the judiciary committee. I reported them to the Nassau County District Attorney's Office. And within a month of me doing so, I found out from the news that I'm the one that got disbarred. And so, of course, rather than falling apart and allowing myself to feel like I'm the victim, right? Because as long as you think yourself the victim, you cannot see what you're doing wrong. I just reinvented myself. And so this disbarment that I speak of happened on 11/9, and it was clearly intended to humiliate me and put a stop to me eventually, from going after these judges and these lawyers who stole my client's house and his money. And so I said, you know what? I'm not going to be discouraged. I'm going to accept this as something from God's plan for my life because I'm a believer in the teachings of Christ. My position is, even if the Christian Bible is total bullshit, it's the greatest philosophical text that was ever written. So in this philosophical text, it talks about the fact that God's plan and his purpose for you is of good. It's never of evil. So whatever happens, you have to own as you're good. So tomorrow, today is the 1 month anniversary of my disbarment. I'm celebrating with this live and on the Wake Up Radio. But tomorrow I'm going to get a tattoo on my arm that says grateful for my panina, because in this very philosophical text called the Bible, there's a story of Hannah and Penina pursued Hannah like I'm being pursued, and then Hannah sought God more fervently, blah 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 blah. Anywho, I digress. So the long answer to your short question is I'm doing this live because it's the anniversary and I formed my corporation. Disbarred is not denied. So I'm going to reinvent myself. I'm still an attorney because I graduated law school and I have a JD, but I'm no longer licensed to practice law in the state of New York. And I was never admitted anywhere else. So therefore, I'm not licensed to practice law anywhere else at the moment. So my thought process is thus: if I can't practice law, then I can police it. So disbarred1109.com. The website we are not launching until January 23rd because I'm fighting with Anna Sorokin and that's her birthday. So my goal is to release my book about her and my website on her birthday. Yeah. I've told everyone repeatedly, I may be fat, but I've never been the bigger person. Fork with me, you know I've got it. I may not start it, but I'm definitely trying to finish it.
Well, that's straight to the point. Well, for the those that don't know what disbarment is, I want you to break it down. And then also, what have you been doing? Even though I know it hasn't been really 30 days for you, but what have you been doing?
I've It has been crazy. First I thought about killing myself, but I tried that when I was 15 and it didn't work out, thank God. And the beauty of being a suicide survivor is that you realize that it was a stupid idea, right? Because the thing at 15 that I thought was terrible that I couldn't overcome now pales in the face of disbarment. It pales in the face of divorce. It pales in the face of being arrested. It pales. I tried to kill myself because at 14 I got pregnant, and you know, by the time I was 15, I had a baby. And so everyone was treating me like I was persona non grata and they were talking to me and saying whatever they thought. Like on a real, I thought my name was That's a Damn Shame. That's Adam Shame. Because every time someone saw me, I sucked my fingers. These two, right? So everyone saw me. I always wore my hair in two ponytails. My mom would, I had a lot of thick, really thick hair. So my mom hated having to comb my hair. So what she would do is she would put it in two cornrows and I'd put them in like a ponytail. So she'd go two up, two down, and I'd put it in a ponytail. So my hair was long and thick. And what I would do is I'd suck my finger. Well, every time someone saw me, I was a little skinny 15-year-old kid and I was a kid. I looked like a kid. You see, I still look young. I'm 52 and I have a childlike view about me. And so they would always say, that's a damn shame. And if like people shame you enough, they after a while it becomes like the self-fulfilling prophecy. So you kind of like adapt it. So I was tired of being Adam Shame. So I tried to kill myself. But my brother's a genius, Mark. He's a genius. He started college at 15. And so he found me. And because he's a genius, he knew what to do. He made me drink a gallon of milk. I took pills. He made me drink a gallon of milk. He put me in the shower. He walked me around. And the irony about all of this, right? When you are trying to shame people or molest, not molest, because Jamaicans say molest if you bother them, but molest is different in America. When you try to antagonize people, right? What you have to understand is that they're human first and everything else second. So for the people who thought that they had a right to have an opinion about my 15-year-old pregnant self, it never occurred to them that I had Mark who loved me and Patsy who was my mom who loved me and was going to be a grandmother and who reasoned my pregnancy consistent with the Bible by saying God's gift to man is to let you live to see your children and your children's children. So maybe God knows I'm going to die young. That's why he made you have a kid so young so he could fulfill his gift to me. My mom is awesome. I have four moms, by the way, Merle, KK, and Angela. I kind of like Angela the most. She's like very loving. She texts me all the time and she takes a lot of pictures with me. KK never takes pictures with me ever. And Patsy's like mean to me sometimes. And Merle is very quiet. But Angela, she's my favorite mom. But don't tell Patsy I said so. She'll get mad. Anywho, I digress. So they would shame me to the point where I tried to kill myself. But Mark loved his sister, and I wasn't Adam shame to him. A damn shame. to him. I was his little sister, his baby sister that he had been protecting her whole life. So he did everything in his power and he saved my life. And so I wrote this book. Um, Failure to Man is not failure to God. I started writing this book when I was a child. Yeah, because I'm gonna cry. And I don't really want to cry. I'm trying not to be emotional. I'm trying not to cry or be emotional about anything. I'm trying to just tell the story so that people can be inspired because I don't want it to be a thing of crying, right? But it is the 1 month anniversary of the disbarment, so if I cry, forgive me. But anywho, I had gotten a sign that said, I know I must be special because God doesn't make junk. And I'm very like literal in my approach to living, right? So I kept that and it stuck with me. And I put it on my wall and I was like, okay. And I started writing this book when I was 15. But it was just little things like I would document what happened in my life. So um I'll give you an example. It's oh boy, this is a lot. So chapter 4, you want to read some of it, Cindy?
It's a good thing I can read. This would be embarrassing. Chapter 4. Everything has a purpose. We may not understand that what that purpose is initially, but if we just choose to wait on God and let time reveal all to us, we would be less stressed and more blessed. Many of the demons we contend with are our own creations. We live or we like to believe that if we do not have enemies or are not in competition, then our life has no meaning. Most often, we see success only as it relates to the failures of others. We get off on the it could be worse tangent, and we never resolve to accept that even if this is as bad as it gets, we are still blessed. There is a saying, you may not be first, but you are next. This saying works two ways. First, it is a reminder that none of us are beyond reproach, as if it happened to them, it can happen to you. Second, it points out that just because someone accomplishes something before you, that does not mean that you don't go on to accomplish that and more. All that you are required to do is temper your reaction in a way that is consistent with biblical teachings. You must understand that your reaction, not your circumstances, decides the outcome. This, I believe, is what Jesus was speaking about when he said, he without a sin cast the first stone. Learning to forgive others when they sin differently from you opens the door for you to forgive yourself and for others to forgive you. Mercy begets mercy.
So I've been reading my own books to myself because how I found out that I was disbarred, I'm walking into the gym with my friend Carol, who's my big sister, and I love her so much because she gets so much shit from me. I'm sorry for cursing, Pastor. I'm very sorry. I really am. But Carol gets the brunt of the hurt that I'm going through, right? I always say disappointment is not hurt. But when you are antagonized socially, you take out the antagonism on the people closest to you. That's why there's domestic violence. Domestic violence isn't about someone wanting to beat their mate or their spouse or their children or loved ones. It's really about I hold the stuff in that I'm feeling in the world. And then when I get home, it's easy to just let it out because they're obligated to love me. And so I expect that they will forgive me when others won't. So Carol gets a lot of the backlash. So she and I are walking into the gym, and a reporter contacts me and says, hey, we're writing a story about your disbarment. Do you have any comment? And I'm like, I'm not disbarred. Carol, they're saying I'm disbarred. And Carol goes, no. And I said, he's like, yes, you are. There's an article in the paper. And I'm like, send it to me. And he emailed it to me. And I almost died. And then Carol says, I think this is the time we should go work out. And I'm like, no, I have to go find my children because I don't want my children to find out in the newspaper that I'm disbarred. I want to be able to talk to them and to reassure them and to save face and because I really try to hide my ugliness from them, right? I don't want them to hate me and judge me. It's something I learned later on with my younger children. The older children got the brunt of my stress in the world. Um, so I'm writing the book called Social Antagonism is the Worst Form of Oppression, the Anna Delvey reality, because I believe that when you're socially antagonized, it is the worst thing. It's worse than anything else because it disempowers you in ways that is at times insurmountable. But my pain hasn't been insurmountable. So you asked me, what did I do since finding out? I got on a plane and I went to Jamaica and I found my dads. I have four dads, right? One died, Canute, who's my birth father. He died, and then my best father is Lenny. I love him the most of every human being on the planet because he's so generous and kind and sweet. But my second dad, who has all of my regard and my soft spot, is Michael, and he's I had two Michael dads. He's called Hammer and Natty H. And the reason why I have a really soft spot and a special love for him is because when my mom left Jamaica, I was 5, and she left me and said she's going to New York. She left me with him. My birth father didn't know. What he would do is take me to my grandmother's house on Fridays because my dad picked me up on Fridays and brought me back on Sundays, or sometimes he brought me to school on Monday. So my dad, Michael, would take me to my grandmother's on Friday so that my birth father would know that I was living with him while my mom was in America. Or I think she went to Canada. I think she was in New York. I don't remember. But in any event, he was very kind and loving and gentle. And even to this day, I went to Jamaica last week, and he still tiptoes when he's walking towards me, and it's so sweet because seeing him tiptoe to me. And so it was raining and I wanted to stay on the yoga mat in the yard, and he kept saying, do you want to come here? And I was like, no, I don't. And he was like, yeah, but here there's no ants and there's no rain. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't. And he's like, okay. So he gets a tarp and makes the place where I want to be more comfortable. I wish I could show you guys the photos of my time in Jamaica last week. So that's what I've been doing. I spent time with Angela, Mommy Angela, and Daddy Lenny, and Daddy Michael Hammer, and Mommy KK, who's here, kept FaceTiming me. She never takes photos with me, but I still love her because she's very gentle. And my mom Patsy was like posting stuff and talking to me, and just really being very supportive. So, my four sets of parents have always been very coddling and loving and friendly with each other. I don't know if they hated each other. I just know that they never fought in my presence, right? I've never heard my mom say a negative word about my dad and vice versa. And I've never heard my step parents berate or demean or dismiss my birth parents and vice versa. Like my mom would be furious if she found out that I was disrespectful to any one of my um, parents by choice. I call them, right, because I don't really think they're step parents. I think they've chosen to love me as their child, and so they're my parents by choice. But it has been rough. I vacillate back and forth about, I've had thoughts of suicide. It's been crazy. I've, at times thought about it, but I overcome it because I'm fully resourced. My friend Brian Corriett, every single morning he texts me breakfast, and I drive to the diner and I sit with him and he talks to me, but he talks to me not like I'm someone's victim, but as if my brain is still beautiful and he wants to avail himself of my knowledge. And that kind of takes my mind off of my pain and my angst and my circumstance. Carol every Monday and Wednesday drags me to the gym. Cindy texts me all kinds of inspirational stuff. She has me doing this live on Thoughtfulness Thursdays. Um, Renee and Javian and so many other people. Scantana, oh my God, the man with the most grammar. This guy is just my champion. And don't even talk about the Hayes. Hailey Hay and his mom, Miss Doreen. Today is her birthday. Happy birthday, Miss Doreen. I love you and I appreciate you so much. Um, I just have so much love. My uncle John Brown, I've decided to become a vegan. I'm not eating anything that bleeds because during this quest, I want to make sure that the decisions I'm making are not corrupted by any souls. I don't want to have any souls of any other living being infiltrate my life. I'm not having sex, which I love sex, It's my favorite activity. I'm not having any sex. I'm doing this for 6 months. I'm being a vegan. I'm giving up gossiping. And I'm like an insane gossip. That's why my radio show was so good because I could dish dirt. Um, because I'm trying to find my new niche. I'm trying to reinvent myself as someone more dynamic and eclectic than I was before. Um, Disbarred is not denied really means that while I have been excluded from going, I haven't lost the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that I've got and acquired over the last 52 years. I'm still Audrey A. Thomas, holder of an associate's degree, a business degree, a bachelor's degree, two masters, a PhD, and a JD. I'm still me, right? And I don't want to lose my voice. My voice is a little tattered because now when I speak, I have to explain that I'm disbarred, but I'm still me. So I'm literally trying to find me. And I've done a lot, right? I'm going to read my books to myself. I wrote Ego Has No Place in the Law, which talks about, how I became aware that the reign of ignorance that we grapple with is greater than we can ever begin to imagine. And by reign, I mean REIGN, not RAIN. Um, we also have to understand that we don't know what we don't know, right? Everyone kept telling me these crackers are not going to let you do that, and I'm like, stop it. I'm an educated woman. We're intellectuals. I'm a lawyer. I believe in our justice system. I believe our system of justice works. It's fair, it's just. But the people who run it are not fair and just. They are mean and calculating. And I think this is evinced by the fact that when the Democrats are in power, certain things happen. When the Republicans are in power, other things happen. If we have a fair and just system of government, it should at least be consistent. It shouldn't be based on who's in power. Ironically, since I'm an insane gossip, I'm not gossiping, I'm reporting. This judge who presided over my case, who called me a thief like 10 times during the course of everything, who recommended my disbarment, he's a Giuliani appointee, and that's how he became a special referee. Roger Bennett Adler. Let me tell you how he became a special referee. He was charged with stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from the state. And that got handled quite conveniently. And then Giuliani appointed him to become an ethics referee. Woohoo, how funny. And I'm documenting a series. Once I launch the website, that's why we're not launching, because we're documenting and vetting so that when I put stuff out there, the fact checkers can't miraculously say, oh, she's lying. It's not right. I'm documenting a series of unequal application of law that has resulted in inequity for many people, right? And I'm not here for any particular race, gender, ethnicity, religion. I'm here for anyone who has ever felt like killing themselves because they were socially antagonized. Because I felt like that, more than once. And I'm still figuring out this disbarment thing. I pray every morning with Minister Blackwood, Evangelist Bev, and Minister Charles. We every morning we pray, right? Hold on a second. Can you call my daughter? She's calling me and I can't. I'm on my phone. I'll give you her number. I'm gonna write it down because I don't want Facebook to get her number. So, anywho, guys, I'm still a mom, right? So anyway, I'm at that point where I'm documenting all of these discrepancies and inequitable application of law, and so I'm making certain that that I'm doing all that I can to vet what I'm saying and what I'm putting out there, and to not be like angry and hateful, and to not come from a place of hate. I'm trying my endeavor best to be balanced, like the scale of justice, right? My passion is to write. So I've written Your Eyes Can't See My Heart. I've written Christian Bitch, social parody about Jehovah's greatest wickedness, because the people who came and swore and lied on the oath, they're all Jehovah's Witnesses. And I wanted to talk about how because I was so blinded by my belief that if you're a Bible toting Christian, you're inherently good. Um, so I tell her I'll be there in 20 minutes. I'm just going to finish the show. So what happens? My daughter is calling because I was supposed to pick her up, and we kind of ran a little later. S- So one moment, guys. Just hold on. Give me the phone because she's being spoiled. Pumpkin pie. Love you. I love my children. So anywho, what happened is I write, and that's how I get rid of my angst. But it doesn't mean that because I'm able to write or I'm fully resourced that I don't struggle with the pain of feeling disempowered, right? Like I don't feel helpless because of my level of education and the resources that I have available to me. But I certainly don't want to become like Colin Ferguson, where I pick up a gun and go into the public square and kill people who've never done anything to me because people who look like them have antagonized me. Was Colin Ferguson's yesterday's anniversary? So the reason why I'm doing the Disbarred 1109.com is my website. The reason why I'm doing it, the reason why I'm choosing to persevere rather than become another headline that everyone can say, oh, yeah, they did this or they did that, is because I want to make a difference. This has happened. I can't undo the disbarment. I filed a notice of appeal that was perfected also and sent over consistent with my anniversary of my disbarment. I'm not worried about whether I win the appeal or not. I'm winning at life. I am alive. I woke up this morning. I didn't take the whole bottle of metformin and go to sleep like I thought about doing when this whole immediately unfolded. I've been supported enough. Facebook has been awesome. I mean, I've had everyone and their mother reach out to me to just encourage me. One guy, Michael Baker, who's a real piece of work, called me to tell me that it was good and wonderful that I got this bought, and he was telling me a bunch of stuff. And so I waited till he was done, and I said, "Hey, you, go and dig up your dead, rotten neighbor, mama, and soccer, and don't call back my phone." And then I asked God for forgiveness. Yeah, you're not going to ruin my day. I'm going to ruin yours. So, I go back and forth, but I'm human first and everything else second. I'm asking you guys to pray for me, to support me. At a very minimum, once I launch the website on January 23rd, 2023, I'm asking you to visit it. And I'm hoping that I will find peace, but more importantly, that I can make a difference, right? Because rather than, like I said in the book, talk about, oh, it could be worse. No, it can't be worse. There's nothing worse than working for 38 years of your life to acquire something only to have five people make a decision that you shouldn't have it and they just take it away from you without due process of law, without giving you an equal and fair, full and fair opportunity to be heard, without affording you the same considerations that they've given others before you. And let me tell you why I'm saying that. So Tara Lenich, who I loved, was a prosecutor in Brooklyn. She was in the homicide unit, and she was a star prosecutor. She was no nonsense, and she was unequivocal and uncompromising. And then she forged 7 judges' signatures to wiretap her boyfriend because she thought he was schlupping another prosecutor, right? Who I think sued her also for defamation. But in any event, they didn't disbar Tara Lenish until she was convicted. Until she was convicted, she got to keep her law license. What? Why? Why not me? I'm not convicted. I'm not. So, it's, am I gonna be the person to take matters into my own hand, or am I gonna believe in the justice system that we all have the privilege to live under? I'm choosing the justice system because I think our Constitution is perfect, but it's run by a bunch of imperfect, racist, disgusting, misogynist, homophobic, anti pro choice, whatever you want to call them, it's run by them. And I think the way that you swing the pendulum of justice back to its balance, right, and you get it to the center that everyone can benefit from, is you do something more than pick up your gun and shoot up the school or the church or the train station. You go to the community and you show them what's happening. But more importantly, you don't come to them needy, greedy, and undeserving. You show them how supporting you will benefit them. And I think that disbarred1109.com will show a lot of people how it benefits them to unite across racial, sexual, social, religious, political. All these lines were created to divide and conquer. If you unite and you hold your government accountable, if you ask the appropriate questions, if you stand up and you say, for example, I don't care what she's accused of. Show me how you afforded her due process. Show me how she was given equal protection under the law. Show me how the prosecutor who is charged with the duty of upholding the law did not forge 7 judges' signature and violate the law. Because remember, I keep saying this, right? None of us are beyond reproach. We are all humans first and everything else second. Judges, prosecutors, lawyers, everyone does things at times that, if called to answer or give account for, they may fall short, right? You can't assume that people are good because they're sitting at the appellate division. You can't. I'm telling you, there are so many stories that I can tell you. And I've seen it from both sides, because when I was on the inside, I was privy to a lot of the injustices that they were trying to do, but I stood up for them. No, I'm not doing it. Last but not least, I remember I dismissed the case because this woman hawked a loogie and spat in this guy's face. And my boss at the time came to me and said, "Why did you dismiss the case?" I said, "Because if she spat in my face, I would have punched her lights out, stomped her out, and it would have been a murder case, not an assault case. Why was he arrested and she wasn't? She spat on him." You know what my boss said? "You know that she lives in the DA's building." And I said, "Yeah, but I was in Mr. Hines's class, and he would not want you to prosecute the black man and let the white woman who spat on him get away with it. I know for a fact Mr. Hines wouldn't want that. He's a good person. We're all good people. We're all racist. We're all everything, but you can't practice your racism and your discrimination and your biases at work. You can't tell someone because they're gay they don't have the right to marry their gay lover. You can't do that. The Constitution provides equal protection for all of us." So that's what disbarred1109.com is about. And I'm hoping for your support. I got to go now because Adriana told me that I better come now. And I believe the children are the future, so I have to go.
Well, we will have a part 2, right? We'll do a part 2 next week. And any last words you want to say?
No, I don't have any last words.
Okay. I thought you was going to tell a story about the lady that snuck in the phone to the felon.
Oh, you want me to tell that? Oh, why are you going to rile me up? You're such an instigator. Anywho, my last word is, explain to me why Dawn Florio snuck drugs and nude magazines into the jail, but she's practicing law, but you want to disbar me. Explain that to me. I heard it's because someone that she's related to sits on the appellate division. The process doesn't have to be fair, but it has to be just. Disbarred is not denied. Y'all got the right one. Have a good night. God bless.
She was, damn, receipts, name everything. Love you. On the Wake Up Radio, I'm Cindy Ashby. Sign up for otwtube.com. I'm hitting end on this because we have to go before the baby and